Heading into round 4 at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, David MacKay leads Matt Simpson by just 12 points in the Liqui Pro Sport Bike Championship. MacKay has 2 victories so far this year, while Simpson has been a model of consistency with 2/3, a 2nd, and a 4th place finish. Meanwhile, Sebastien Tremblay has returned to sport bike racing to throw his hat into the ring. The first of 3 races here at Old Mosport is next. Hello everyone, and welcome to Canadian Tire Motorsport Park for round 4 of the Liqui Pro Sport Bike Championship. Frank Wood here along with Colin Fraser as we get set for race number 5 in the 2023 season. A lot has happened since we last left round 2 at Grand Bend Motorplex. The series shifted to Atlantic Motorsport Park near Shubenacadie, Nova Scotia for round 3, where Suzuki's Sebastien Tremblay captured the pole position for what was scheduled to be a doubleheader on the East Coast. Unfortunately, a once-in-a-100-year storm hit and dumped massive amounts of rain across the province, including Atlantic Motorsport Park. The roads were flooded, and the only bridge leading into AMP needed serious repair. CSBK officials thus made the difficult decision to cancel round 3. These unparalleled developments take us here to CTMP and a makeup race for the Liqui Pro Sport Bike Championship that will use our middleweight starting grid from Shubenacadie. Let's take a look, Colin.
Everybody was pretty excited about our grid for AMP, and you look at those first 2 rows, all potential winners, although not all have won so far. Playford on the Ducati starting to move up, and we'd all like to see him do even better with that V-twin. Looking at the rest of our grid, Alex Michel, and he's doing a very good job in his rookie pro season from Vetra Susan, Coelho, and Louis Rafa on the 3rd Ducati. Looking at our pro twins grid, the young Buck Andrew Van Winkle on the Suzuki facing off against the unbeaten Aprilia of Jeff Williams in the Twins division.
And all of these racers, of course, faced with this 10-turn course, famous Mosport course, or Canadian Tire Motorsport Park as we know it now. What shall we look for?
Always good to consider our history when we're here at CTMP. 1967 500cc Grand Prix event here at Mosport. Giacomo Agostini, Mike Halewood, and people like Kenny Roberts. Lots of fantastic performances. Now let's go to see Sarah in our pits with her update.
Thanks, guys. Now, this actually counts as a makeup race for round 3 of the Liqui Sport Bike Championship, which was canceled in July due to floods in Nova Scotia. Number 24, Sebastien Tremblay, aboards his Turcotte Performance Suzuki GSX-R 600, and points leader David MacKay, who actually qualified 3rd in Nova Scotia, joins him on the front line. I spoke to MacKay earlier, and he said that one of the biggest challenges here at CTMP is actually also the weather, and deciding between dry tires and wet tires, but ultimately he went with the wet ones. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Sarah. This has been declared an open tire race now as we get ready for the start of this contest. We are now under starters' orders. We look to the apex starting lights. When those lights go off, we will launch. The lights are on now. They're off now, and they have launched. They are coming down into turn 1, and we look. I think that is David MacKay. And who is that on 90? That's Playford on the black bike on the inside there. So he has switched out from the Ducati, and he is now mounted on what they call their B bike at the Honda. Look at John Lang. Man, did he ever get drive between 1 and 2, and he leads the pack going out into turn 2. And Colin, he's got a bit of asphalt between he and MacKay.
And for so many of these riders, they're on their home track. Lots of laps around here. Lang, first ever race at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. So how's that for a start? If you remember at Shannonville at the start of the season, he led for about half a lap.
Oh, we've got a bike down, and it looks, oh no, is it MacKay? No, it's McRae, I should say. Oh, jeepers. Brad MacKay, we've seen this happen way too often with this rider. He crashed out at Shannonville in the opening race. Now we pick up on John Lang coming down into Moss's corner, and Playford on that Honda doing a fantastic job of staying with him. We've not seen him up towards the point up until this race, Colin.
You see them taking a wide line, trying to be careful with that crease where the two different pieces of pavement meet up. Nice start by Lang, and Playford doing a heck of a job. MacKay working the draft there. And let's go back to MacKay for a second. Remember at Shannonville, he almost won in the rain, crashed on the last lap, then won the next day in the dry, but lately it has been going upside down for him.
Someone should speak to John Lang, because this kind of a lead, particularly on the first lap, never happens here at Motorsport. He has broken away, Colin. He's going for a ride by himself.
Yeah, and the question is, how do you judge the traction? And it's very, very difficult in these circumstances. He doesn't have the knowledge of the circuit the other guys do, but his lines are slightly different. Sometimes not having that set pattern works in your favor as we complete the first lap. First national lap led by Lang, the Alberta rider who joined the Tour this year, rookie in the series.
Well, I talked to him before the race, and we talked about the fact that he crashed out of the lead at Shannonville at the very first race of the season, and he said this one's for redemption. So it looks like he is indeed getting his redemption. This is very, very impressive ride thus far.
Yeah, nice wide line there. Again, not typical, not what you'd expect, and I think he is setting his own path, and the guys behind should try and hang in if they can and see what he's doing, because he's doing some things differently, and it seems to be working. He looks pretty comfortable.
Well, I tell you who's not comfortable right now, and that is Sebastien Tremblay. He got a dreadful start and presently mired back in 6th spot. This was unexpected.
Yeah, and 6th is not great at the best of times, but this is a distant 6th. And, you know, in the rain, if you can get a start and find your pace, it's very, very hard for people to catch you.
Oh, another rider down. Oh, and he is under the bike, I think. Oh, no, that's Jeff Williams.
So that was our Twins points
jeepers.
leader on the Aprilia, and he has fallen in turn 1. Now the red flag's out, so the riders are going to be pulling over and stopping, and see everybody responding to acknowledge that they've seen the red flag, and they're going to cruise in slowly.
Wow. That is most unfortunate for Williams. Williams had a very bad crash here a couple of years ago at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. Okay, with this red flag, we're going to take a quick break. We'll reset our grid, and we will give you an update on Jeff Williams when we come back. Don't go away. The Liqui Moly Pro Sport Bike Championship is brought to you by Kawasaki, Pro Cycle, and Saran. Closed captioning of the Liqui Moly Pro Sport Bike Championship is presented by Saran, EBC, Apex Cycle, MotorcycleCourse.com, and Goderich Toyota. We are back at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park for the restart of this Liqui Moly Pro Sport Bike National Championship. They're under starters order right now. We now look to the Apex lights. The lights are on. The lights are off, and the field is away and running it. It looks like MacKay. That was a beautiful start. Picture perfect, Colin.
Another perfect start from MacKay. Tremblay, not as bad as last time, but not perfect. Now, when you look just behind on that Yamaha, and that is a move that, oh, look at Connor Campbell coming by, so lots going on at the front right now.
Well, Campbell likes it in the rain. These guys have only got 10 laps to get it done as well. On the restart, 10 laps to go for this national championship race, and it is MacKay with a slight lead. I'm going to give him about 5-6 bike lengths over Simpson, and now look at moving to the inside there.
That is Tremblay on Simpson, and Simpson had a good early effort. You can see he's still holding on to second, but that is Lang back and forth. And remember, he had a convincing lead just 20 minutes ago when we had that red flag for the incident with Jeff Williams, who has been transported to hospital.
Yeah, that was a shame, but it looks like Lang's making up for it, though. Lang has made a pass. He's up in the 3rd spot already.
Nice
he has
move.
a design.
Very, very confident there from Lang, and he's looking to see if he can find those lines that were working so well for him. You can see it is definitely raining harder right now, which probably helps a little bit in terms of consistency of the surface.
Well, what's helping Sebastien Tremblay this time around is getting a much better start than he got. He's running in 4th spot just now, battling with Connor Campbell. But I think he's got by him. He has gotten by him. So here comes the shaker. He's running in 4th spot right now. And Simpson moving in on David MacKay as they go in through turn 8 and now up into turn 9. And Lang is right there. We have a 3-horse race now, Colin, and I think Tremblay is going to join in very shortly by the looks of it.
And the rookie pro Michel was side by side with Connor Campbell for 5th, so really good effort on a wet track for Michel. And another Kawasaki. We've got a lot of Kawasaki's at the front of this pack. It's a good day for the Ninja in the rain.
Indeed. 2 Ducatis running in 7th and 8th position. That would be Louis Rafa and Playford, but actually I'll correct myself. Playford is on the Honda this time around, his B-bike.
Right, and first time out, nice move by Lang. First time out, Playford has switched again from Ducati to Honda, and Lang is up to 2nd and really pouring the pressure on our leader, MacKay.
And he got a beautiful drive coming out of turn number 2 up into turn 3. They're exactly side by side. They look like they're a mirror virtually. The 2 Kawasaki riders perfectly side by side through turn 4.
David MacKay didn't give it up, but David MacKay is a very cagey rider. He doesn't push when he doesn't need to. Now let's watch the replay. Lang has committed really early. I think the shock here is MacKay, who doesn't look as aggressive, drifts wide, very smooth, and that is MacKay at all times, and he is still comfortable on the outside, and this is a dicey moment for both of them. And right around here, MacKay thinks, I'll give him a little room. But Simpson is in a points battle with MacKay, and he is right there as well. So lots going on, and Tremblay is up to 4th, and he's definitely stalking this group. Tremblay, of course, brilliant here in the rain 3 years ago.
Lang is right back up to where he was at the original start of this race. And again, I'll refer to redemption. He got redemption from his crash at Shannonville, and it looks like he's getting redemption on this day here at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park.
Getting ready to lead another lap. This will be the 2nd in his career that he's led in our Pro Series, and his 2nd here in his rookie appearance at CTMP. So this is a brilliant day for Lang, who came here from the West to prove his abilities, and he's proving them in the rain.
That motorcycle is massaged by Willie Vass. Oh man, that was nasty. Somebody got pitched off there. Oh, jeepers, it's the shaker. Sebastien Tremblay right into the wall. What in the devil happened there? All of a sudden, he was all twisted up with this motorcycle and catapulting across the racetrack.
So when you watch here, there's a couple of seams, and of course the water does pool, and I think he just got a little bit sideways. And what's amazing is, you know, it's great that a pro rider is capable of hanging on, but that gets you flung really hard into the tire wall there on the exit of turn 1. So that was a scary incident.
Yeah, he looked a little shook up after that as well. As we watch John Lang in through Moss's corner, he's going to be going up the straightaway and headed up into towards turn number 8. But hang in, folks. We'll be right back. We are working lap 4 of 10 right now in this national championship race. We're watching the 707 of John Lang leading this race in from out west with some help from out west as well. Willie Vass doing the tuning on that motorcycle, and he is gone again, Colin.
Well, I don't know if he's gone, and 2nd and 3rd can see him, but 2nd and 3rd have a lot on their plate. MacKay, who almost took the title last year, is holding off Simpson. That is the same situation they're in points. Now, Simpson really needs to make things happen to try and gain some of those points back.
He comes to the inside now of MacKay. Perfect pass. He got her done this time around. And Colin, it looked to me like David MacKay left a little bit too much room there. But look now as he's coming back on his own. He comes up again alongside Simpson. And both riders now diving down into turn 4. Moss's corner is next. MacKay has an outside line going into Moss's corner, but Simpson, it looks like, he's grabbed that position, and he is guarding it now as he will chase after Lang. Lang just now coming out of Moss's, and now here comes Simpson.
When we talked to Simpson at Atlantic Motorsport Park, the event that was canceled, and of course this is part of the makeup for that, he said he's going to have to change his strategy, be a little less conservative, and take the fight to MacKay to try and force his way into the title hunt, and that is the way he's riding right now. But look at this, there's so little to choose between these two, and here comes MacKay thinking about it on the outside as we see our leader.
I'm thinking MacKay pulled out of the draft a little bit too early. He had a pretty good toe going on there, and he was right in behind Simpson, but he pulled out, and Simpson was able to gap that a little bit, and give him, maybe 2.5 bike lengths now.
And it's difficult to understand slipstreaming in the rain because sometimes people pull out because they're just sick of being soaked, right? You're getting so much water off those heavily grooved Bridgestone rain tires, and sometimes there's just so much of it pouring down your helmet onto your chest and your crotch, and just an unpleasant wet sensation.
Well, you know, if we look at the speeds and the lean angles that these guys are displaying on this racetrack, you got to know those Bridgestone race tires are working very, very well indeed.
Well, this 2023 Canadian summer has been the ultimate demonstration of the Bridgestone rain tire. You could race in dozens of different national series and not get as much.
Oh, down goes Simpson! Oh, Matt Simpson has crashed out. He's into the bales and he's up and okay. That's a good note. But what a disaster.
Okay, so Simpson's trying to get that Blackstock Yamaha back on its wheels, see if he can get out there and salvage some points or something. Now let's watch the slow motion. You can see he's riding pretty aggressively. He's got good entrance speed. Little hot on the turn-in. He crosses that seam, and remember, there's probably just a tiny little bit of water there. It was a minor mistake, but sometimes it gets you. And right now, MacKay's thinking, okay, that's one less stress point for me to deal with. MacKay in second. If this is how it plays out, this hugely helps MacKay in the point standings. But look in the background. Remember who won in the rain at the last minute at Shannonville in our opener?
Yes.
That orange bike back there? Well, he's third now, and he's watched some of this happen. So Connor Campbell might have a notion that this could be lightning striking twice in this very wet summer of ours.
Well, we're working lap 5 of 10, so the race is essentially half over now. If anything should happen, it may be called a race, as we're watching again John Lang on the 707, but I don't think Campbell's got time to get the job done, quite frankly, Colin.
Well, I would agree with you, Frank, except the number of times I've said that and been wrong over the years. It's right now, Campbell has set the fastest lap, so I guess if we're looking for data, the data point is that he's getting his confidence up and obviously has figured out the best lines. Now, remember, Lang is going to try not to get too aggressive because he doesn't have a marker in front of him, right? He doesn't have anyone to steer. So essentially, Frank, he's trying to hatch an egg without any help here at the hen house, and we'll see how he does when we get back with TSN.
The Liqui Moly Pro Sport Bike Championship is brought to you by Kawasaki, Pro Cycle, and Saran. We're back at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. We're working lap 8 of 10, and we're watching the top 3 riders go through here, all on Kawasaki's, Colin.
Well, interesting also to note that, as they say, it's always darkest before the night. If you notice, it is actually getting darker.
It is.
I think it's raining a little bit harder, and the conditions are so strange. This often happens at CTMP, and it's sort of varying from rain to a very heavy mist, and you get like a big gust of wind, and the track gets quite a bit wetter in just 5 or 10 seconds, which could have been a factor in the incidents we've seen because some very good riders have tipped over.
Oh, no! Oh, my God! MacKay has gone down. How did that one happen? He's been riding so smoothly, choosing his lines properly, but he is determined. He is determined. He wants to get that motorcycle back up and running. I don't think it's going to happen.
Well, I think what happened is he looked and he saw the controls are damaged, then he thought about moving the bike, and then of course it's not in a good spot. You don't want to get hit. Now watch here, crossing that seam, and it looks like it just starts to slide. Now look at when he picks up the throttle, probably just to stabilize it. This is remarkable. I've only ever seen that a couple of times. One of the times was in a race I was in, and the guy right in front of me did that. That you can keep your balance to that degree is astounding. Look at how quickly he gets up. He knows what he needs to do. He wants to get those points because he's thinking of the championship. This means we're basically at status quo, Frank. No change in the points.
Absolutely. Absolutely correct. And Connor Campbell, now we're watching him. He has got the fastest lap of the race so far, Colin. He is very consistent. Whether he can close up that distance, as I said, I had my doubts. If we've only got one lap to go, and look at the distance he has to make up.
Well, he's got this lap and the next one, Frank. He is definitely closing. I don't think it's going to be enough. This is a time to consider Campbell and what he's capable of in the rain, and we've seen some good running from him in the dry too, but he's very good in the rain. Now, a British race fan would tell you that a larger person is more mobile on the bike and can change their weight more easily, and of course the Isle of Man street races really emphasize that style of riding. Maybe Campbell has a little bit of an edge. Also, as he did at our Shannonville opener, he's been pacing himself, he's been watching what's going on in front of him, which could easily have deterred him and convinced him to go slow, but instead I think he's got his confidence up because he's figured out the track, and he was definitely a guy who felt after that win at Shannonville that he had really come to understand what the Bridgestones are capable of and how to use them to their maximum. These heavily grooved rain tires that are specific to our series with our new spec deal, our 4-year sponsorship with Bridgestone. And there he is. That's Campbell on his Kawasaki, and he can see Lang. He's hunting him down. Lots of pressure for the Westerner. Hopefully he's seeing this on his pit board and knows that Campbell's on the move. But this lap alone has been such a significant inroad.
No kidding. Quite remarkable. Now Lang hoping to score his first national championship win and is in position to possibly do that and join a long list of first-time winners going back to 2022 and starting off with 2023.
Yeah, this is the class for guys who are cutting their teeth and proving what they're capable of. We've been so spoiled for competition, and Lang climbing the ladder here is another indication of how strong this class is. It's really come back strength to strength with Liqui Moly and TSN support on board at the top of turn 2, the double apex plunge in the rain. You see Lang taking that very wide line, and Campbell's confidence is so strong. Can he make up the difference in less than 2 miles?
Well, if he pushes too hard, he's going to end up on his backside at trackside like so many riders have already. This is our final lap, so if he's going to get it done, he's got to get going right now. And Colin, I bet next week's pay that ain't going to happen.
Yeah, Lang still looks good, still using his own lines, making his own specific decisions that he's developed. Remember, basically been all alone the entire race at the front in his debut racing at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park.
That's a statement in itself. Lang now grabbing a handful of Kawasaki horsepower and heading up that Mario Andretti straightaway. And look at Campbell, he is closing up.
He definitely got the drive, and of course now he's benefiting from putting his tires in the wheel tracks of the leader.
All right.
Taking advantage of a slightly drier track, and we see a good battle between Kawasaki's, which are probably very similar in terms of their total output. 3 turns to go, Frank.
Yeah, and Connor Campbell you were absolutely right. He was right in Lang's wheel tracks coming up that back straightaway. Now into turn 9, and he's closing even more now. Look at that. He gathered up a bunch of asphalt coming in on Lang there now, and he is within 2 bike lengths. This is incredible. What an incredible ride. Campbell on the inside now towards the finish line. Oh, man, that's too close to call.
Lang led the whole way, so 0.03, 3/100ths of a second for the win. What an effort. Connor Campbell almost, and that's his first career national win.
There you go.
What a fantastic finish, and those guys put on a show for us.
John Lang, he used the word redemption, and it has definitely been redemption for that man on this day as he scored his first national championship win. And standing on the podium for the very first time is this young lad from Quebec. That is Alex Michel, mounted on his Speed Factory 67 Kawasaki. Let's have a look at the rest of the field, Colin.
So behind all those Kawasaki's, Louis Raffa's strong effort on his Ducati. Remember, he's a Rainmeister who won at Saint Eustache a few years ago. Souza Playford, who moved over to his Honda, and the rest of the pack. And there's some of our notable riders who did not make it to the finish in a very bizarre race that has not changed the championship standings. Here's Sarah with our winner.
Well, congratulations, John. How'd it go out there?
Not bad. This feels really, really good. My season started out as rough as it could have in the rain in Shannonville, with a turn 1 crash in the rain. I was feeling great that day, but it checked my emotions for sure.
Well, you've got the biggest smile on your face right now.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Now let's have a look at our point standings, Colin, with 2 of our closest competitors crashing out.
So 4 races left to go. MacKay and Simpson are more than a race in hand from Lang and Campbell, very close together for 3rd. What makes me think we're heading to Shannonville not knowing who's going to win this title?
And there is John Lang. He is absolutely pumped with this race win, standing on top of the podium for the very first time in his career. On behalf of myself, Colin Fraser, the entire CSBK crew, thank you so much for being with us. We'll see you next time.